for the intellectually honest, including pro-choice who were intellectually honest, was a terrible law and caused horrible divisions in this country. Major moral questions, not legal questions, but major moral questions in general should be decided by the people. It is a fascinating aspect of all of this that the left, i.e. the Democrats, constantly tell us that democracy is threatened. Why wasn't democracy threatened when Roe v. Wade was enacted by 5 people? What was the decision in Roe v. Wade? You want to take a look?
7-2.
It was 7-2?
Yeah.
7 people, right. Why wasn't democracy overturned with that decision? Let the people decide on such major moral issues. The Constitution has nothing to say about abortion. I don't think the Constitution is against abortion necessarily. The protection of human life, which is that specified in the Constitution, or is that just in the Declaration of Independence? But I don't think it's in the Constitution. It's taken for granted, obviously. But I wouldn't argue that the Constitution says that abortion is unconstitutional, and I wouldn't argue that it's constitutional. It is a moral question that we have states. That's the whole purpose of states, to have a moral laboratory, a political laboratory, a social laboratory. And hopefully people of goodwill can look and see, gee, this state seems to have gotten it right. This state seems not to have gotten it right. Abortion is not banned on any federal level. The biggest states in the country, outside of, some of the biggest states, certainly the biggest state, California, will not only continue to have abortion on demand. You're 9 months pregnant and you want an abortion, please come right in. In fact, we'll support you financially. And anybody who would like one anywhere in the country, please come to California or please come to New York and get an abortion. Undoubtedly, there will be funds from left-wing groups that will even give women, yes, women get pregnant, not men, will even give women who do not want to give birth and to want to have an abortion and for whatever reason refuse to give the child up for adoption, the means with which to travel to another state and get her abortion. So why is there so much screaming? What did AOC do? She went in front of the Supreme Court and said, to the streets.
Yeah.
Is it truly a nihilistic individual? Why is, I think it's very important, as much as the abortion issue is important, I think it's important to analyze the reasons for the passion of both sides. In order to assess what is happening, you need to understand both sides. So the pro-life side is pretty clear. People on the pro-life side believe that from conception you have a human life. The irony here, if it is indeed ironic, is that they have science on their side. What is it from conception if not a human being? Now you can say, if you will, and I have some understanding of this, that over time it becomes fully human, if you will. It is at least a nascent human upon conception. I'm not going to get into the theology, and I'm not going to get into the science. I did get into the science. I think it would be a major victory if states said, look, as they do in France, look, we're against abortion. You know, we have the most lenient laws in the world in the United States. I think Japan is the only one with as lenient a law. We should play the video of what it's like in other countries. Yeah. Let's get that up. Sean, get the PragerU video.
I'll send it to him.
So Alan will send it to you. You have, most Americans have no idea how different America is from virtually every other country in the world, certainly the much praised Western European countries, even Scandinavian countries. The idea that with no hesitation, you, on the part of society, a woman can get an abortion when what she is carrying, the fetus, if you will, the baby, if you will, is truly human. I mean, there's no disputing that with the brainwaves, the heartbeat, the breathing, etc., that we have here a human. It happens to be contained in the body of a woman, but I don't know why that changes its status. Play some of this. I want you to understand how Roe v. Wade made America uniquely either good or bad, depending on your position, but whatever your position, unique.
American progressives look to Western Europe as the model of what America should be. So here's an area of European social policy that progressives will definitely want to examine more closely: Europe's attitude toward abortion. It happens to be much more restrictive than that of the United States. That's right. Western Europeans, as progressive and secular as they are, have a much more conservative attitude about abortion than American progressives do. Here is what Emily Matcher wrote in the Atlantic magazine in 2013. Quote, "I assumed that Western Europe would be the land of abortion on demand, but as it turns out, abortion laws in Europe are both more restrictive and more complicated than that. Waiting periods, decried by American pro-choicers as unreasonably burdensome, are common." Close quote. In Germany, for example, nearly all abortions are illegal after 12 weeks. And there's a 3-day waiting period and mandatory counseling before a woman is allowed to have an abortion, even during the permitted first 12 weeks. That's more restrictive than Texas. In the U.S., abortions are legal in every state before a pregnancy has reached its 20th week. After that, some restrictions do kick in. 11 states prohibit abortion after the 20th week of pregnancy. 20 states prohibit abortions at the point of viability, which is when a baby can survive outside the womb. They usually recognize that as being 23 to 25 weeks. 3 states prohibit abortion after the 28th week, and 7 states, plus Washington, D.C., allow abortions to be performed at any point in a pregnancy, even if the mother could safely give birth to a viable and healthy baby. But in Belgium, like Germany, abortions are permissible only until the 12th week. After that, an abortion is permitted only if the woman's life is in danger. Furthermore, any woman getting an abortion must wait 6 days after her first medical consultation before an abortion can be performed. Denmark is similar. After 12 weeks, all sorts of restrictions apply. Pregnant women in Finland also have until the 12th week of pregnancy to get an unrestricted abortion, and during those first 12 weeks, a woman must provide a compelling reason for ending her pregnancy. In France, too, abortion on demand is legal only up to 12 weeks.
All right, so let's leave it at that. It gives you an idea. All of these so-called socialist countries, this was made, how many years ago was this video made? 5 years ago? Alicia Krauss did a fine job. 2016, so I'm close, 6 years ago. They all recognize that this is a morally problematic act to end the life of a viable child, fetus, whatever you wish to call it. Only the United States in the Western world has said, no, there is no. I don't know what the Canadian law is. I'd be very interested. But compared to Western Europe, America was the most radical in saying that so long as a baby is in a womb, it has no right to life. It's a pretty radical statement. I don't know why that is not clear to the most pro-choice, honest person.